Okay, welcome to the Limo Anywhere webinar on why digital ads for transportation works differently. Today we have Brian Mattingly and Brian Kalinowski, two of our digital marketing experts, who are going to walk you through some of the different topics around PPC ads and how they can affect your business. What we hope you guys all come away with is how important tracking your actual ad spend is and the different types of ads you can run to stimulate bookings on your website. With that, take it away, Brian.
All right, thanks so much, Josh. We appreciate that. So, kicking off today, exciting topics, a lot of changes in this world today, but we're going to talk about paid strategies. Brian's going to enlighten us on some of the different types of things that, as Josh mentioned, the types of ads that are out there. We're also talking a little bit more about retargeting. I know we've touched on this a bit in the past. We're going to talk a little bit deeper about this. There's definitely been some changes in all the digital space with all the things going on with AI and that kind of thing. And then lastly, we'll close with just kind of like what we need to be thinking about as operators and just the overall ecosystem of digital. And ads are one thing, but it touches a lot of things. And we'll close with just kind of that thought process so we can get all of our operators that are listening today, in the right mindset as they're thinking about growth digitally. So, just to kick us off, you've got the two Brians today. So just so you know, behind Brian and I are over 70 marketing specialists. We've got different teams and different departments, whether it's web development, whether it's digital marketing, like we're going to be talking about today, whether it's SEO. We have a lot of different teams behind us that do some really great work from the Limo Anywhere side to help you grow and drive leads and increase bookings. So Brian and I are going to be running this today. And Brian, I'm going to start with you. And I think we always like to start with just kind of the broad concept of let's just talk about some of the basic terms. So when we talk about paid ads, there's a lot of talk about intent-based paid ads. And then how does that compare to interest-based paid ads? So I'll let you kind of explain that one-on-one to us if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of companies out there, what they're doing is they're buying interest, while the most successful that are being successful from their online marketing are capturing intent. So interest searches may be like limo services, city, any city USA, black car service, any city USA, maybe display ads on websites that people aren't necessarily going to looking for transportation. So these people are browsing, these people are comparing, researching, shopping. They're not ready. They're not ready to book. So that's your interest. Now, intent, that's transactional behavior. Those are searches such as corporate car service, Boston Logan Airport, black car service for a law firm in New York City, car service for executives meeting tomorrow, 247 corporate chauffeur contract. So intent traffic has a date, it has a destination, it has a budget, it needs execution. So, when we're buying ads on Google, right, what a lot of people do is they're tracking impressions, they're tracking clicks, and talking about, call volume, but not necessarily lead quality. And most importantly, not tracking the lifetime value of that client. So, Google Ads, it captures, intent while you're paying, in SEO and AEO, answer engine optimization. So optimization for platforms like ChatGPT, Claude. If you watched the Super Bowl, you saw multiple ads for these AI engines. And while they're capturing intent while you're sleeping. So important data point to share, right? And a lot of you already know this. Corporate accounts, they're worth 5 to 20x more than an event or a one-off booking. Your average corporate travel client, they're booking 2 to 10 rides per month for 12 months plus. And this often extends to not just airport transfers, but meetings, roadshows, trade shows, and more. Intent traffic, it's going to lead more likely to, retainers, contracts, long-term revenue, and referrals from inside companies or connections. So, what we're targeting is intent searches, not just the broad searches. And so how is AI changing this? Programs like ChatGPT, AI Mode, Claude, Gemini. So it's definitely reducing traditional organic clicks. Organic clicks are never going to go away. But right now, 1 out of 4 searches are starting on these platforms. It's growing 81% year after year. Fastest growing segment is travel. Um, these AI engines, they're answering questions directly and they're summarizing top providers, and they're highlighting structured and content-rich websites. They prefer the latest and greatest technology when it comes to the web platforms, not necessarily technology that's been in place for decades doesn't have the advantage. And so these days, your corporate travel decision makers, and as we're tracking everything from click to payment, that tells us, who is not just, looking at your site, but who's giving you money, which helps us with audience targeting. What we found is these decision makers are asking these AI engines questions like, who are the best corporate car services in any city USA? What should I look for in corporate transportation providers, or best executive car services for a law firm in say New York? And AI gives them 3 to 5 summarized recommendations. So, search engines are always going to be around. I don't think we're ever going to stop talking about them. But AEO, an answer engine, if you're not getting ahead of that, then eventually you're gonna disappear. Yeah. So, one of the things that we've done starting, at the beginning of last year is put a heavy focus on AEO and answer engine optimization, because search is changing. It's going to AEO. Voice search is the fastest growing area of search. And more people are using these answer engines like search engines, and more people are using them for buying, and it's only growing. So think about the early days of SEO. We're definitely in the wild west of AEO, and you want to get ahead of that.
Yeah, Brian. So a couple quick call outs here. I was talking to one of our great clients, I think it was last week, and he's, through kind of a really good intent strategy, he picked up a corporate client that's actually overseas, but they send their teams, the people over here, for certain meetings. And so he has this contract, because he had the right, intent-based strategy to capture that. So, and it is very profitable business for him, right? So as you said, kind of these more strategic intent-based searches, if you can get your brand in front of them and get them flowing through your business, it can create a lot of great, revenue. And if you do weddings, having a wedding, one-off weddings, great, right? But these contracts really can be kind of that, recurring revenue piece that we all look for our businesses. So that's really good. And I think just on the screen, I think it's a good example. You've got, you see on the bottom and with the map, you can see the sponsored ads there. That looks like Las Vegas from here. And, people are searching, some kind of airport transportation service. And so you can see the sponsored ads. Of course, we want to be at the top of that in most searches if we can, particularly the ones we are interested in as operators. And then on the right hand side, that could be more of kind of like an interest based Instagram ad that could be used in kind of retargeting. We'll talk a little bit about that as well, but that's just to give you an idea, like how do you show up? Those sponsored ads are it. Brian touched on it. I'm going to dive into it a little bit more, just because the world is changing so much, even with AI in Google. Right. And so the way we even construct our ad campaigns, so for the DIYers out there doing, Google ads yourselves, or you have a cousin or a small agency that helps you with it, the question to be asking them now, or asking yourself, is do we set up campaigns the same way we used to on Google? And the answer is no. The kind of the strategic keyword, specific match keywords, not the same anymore. It's specifically if we want to get found in kind of the Google AI, search query. All of us probably have seen that the Google overviews that, when you search for something, you now have an AI overview, right? So there's ads in there, by the way. And so how do we get our ads in there? So this is a complex picture, and I'm not going to spin your eyes around on the whole thing, but the whole idea is now users are searching with complex questions, right? Just like they're doing in AI. So any of you who are searching on ChatGPT, well, that's how people are searching on Google now. So how does the query work, and how should we be thinking about keywords? And so using some of the tools within Google will help you do this, like performance max ads, setting up more broad match strategies, will help you kind of, flow through this new algorithm structure of the Google Ads campaign that's happening now. So, instead of just kind of looking at a keyword match and trying to do that like Google used to do in the past, now it's doing advanced queries, running, splitting up questions into multiple segments and trying to identify kind of, the right ad to present to that consumer that fits in with the logic it's presenting back in the AI overview. I know that sounds really technical, but the bottom line is you need to be asking whoever's running your ads these questions, like how are you getting my ads into AI overviews? And if they're using the old techniques, you're probably not getting there. But if they're getting into the performance match stuff, if they're getting into more broad match stuff, if they're understanding what people are coming in from a keyword standpoint and broadening that out, that's really going to help you when it comes to being, injected into the results of a Google AI search query. Again, not trying to get super technical here, but it is, things have changed in this area. And we certainly, when people are searching for travel and things like that we're involved in, corporate, transportation, we want to be in that AI component of the Google search query. So just wanted to give you that. This just came out from Notebook LLM, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, and I got my hands on it. And so I wanted to put it in front of everybody on this webinar. So interesting stuff there. So let's kind of just go back to like the types of targeting. And again, you heard just there, like Google and the way that the structuring the ads, it's not that easy. It's complex. If you haven't done it before, it can be challenging. Of course, some of you on this call maybe are really good at it. So we're going to talk about different ways and things to be thinking about when it comes to your targeting. And by the way, of course, Brian, I think your link's in this chat. If anybody wants Brian to talk to you about your strategy and what you should be thinking about, he'll definitely talk a little more specific to your needs, because the other thing is tier 1 cities are different than tier 2 cities, than tier 3 cities. There's just a lot of differences that come into play. But when we talk about a lookalike audience, Brian, what does that mean for our operators here that are listening?
Lookalike audiences are a big advantage we have with our ads, with the fact that our marketing is syncing with your software. So what that means is we can look at the demographic of your current customer base, and we can match that same demographic with the ads. One of the big things that we found, and of course this also helps us with tracking and being able to provide you with a dashboard that doesn't just show you your clicks and impressions and conversions. A lot of times when you get conversions from Google, it's when people are filling out a quote. We know not all those turn into business. But we can get you a dashboard that shows you how much money you're making, not just who's looking at your site. That same technology helps us do these lookalike audiences. Big takeaway that we found very early on is that a lot of times when you're talking about the corporate board of directors type, CEO, most of the time it's not them booking these rides. It's usually their admins or event coordinators doing it for them. So that's what lookalike audiences are. Of course, we can do negative keywords, so you're not showing up in searching for a taxi or economical transportation. Promotion ads, that's up to the business, but it can increase conversion. Sometimes it's that extra nudge that makes the difference between them booking with you. So, if you wanted to do something like 10% off your first ride or first round trip, first airport transportation, we have that built into our platform where they can do a form fill on your website. You get a text immediately because speed to lead's important. 70% of people are, when they do an inbound inquiry, they're going to do business with the first person that reaches out to them. Or maybe you just want to sign up for exclusive offers or something, then you decide what you do with that information, whether it's just follow up with them, keep them top of mind, or maybe you want to do something else. But being able to track everything from click to payment, that helps us with that audience targeting and getting to put your ads in front of the people that are already in your demographic and where they're living, where they're your customer base. A lot of them, if they're living in they can't find a ride share at 5 in the morning, or they don't want to take the chance of it. Where if they're living in an urban area, little bit easier to do. Way completely different. So, targeting, I always recommend targeting where your customer's living, and of course also targeting, where the people that, are traveling in, what they're going to search for, which is usually the main metropolitan. But don't forget about the areas that they actually live in.
That's great. Let me just back up to one quick thing, Brian, that you hit on. So the promotion ads are powerful, right? We've seen the data points. Like there's a funnel that people go, like if you run just like I said 10% off your first ride, people give you their information. You get a text, I think, right away when that lead comes in, gives you the chance to reach out to them if needed, and it gets them through this pathway to start booking. So those are really really good ads. And the other thing, just going back to lookalikes, like business travelers, like if you have a lot of business travelers in your database, and we use that in kind of the feed of the lookalike, like Brian said, just the power of the data, we're gonna go try to find more business travelers. Like if that's a big portion of your database. So having those types of things really really critical in there too. And again, just like Brian said, having the industry knowledge we have here at Limo Anywhere with demographics and things like that really helps us be strategic as we target and try to find these great, whether it's corporate contracts or great rides for airports or whatever it is. But the idea is how do you leverage data, and the Limo Anywhere team does a good job of this, and maybe you have some a partner that does good jobs with this too. But these are things to be thinking about to kind of set yourself apart and beat the competition. Brian, just one last thing on before I move on to retargeting. Talk about ads running in New York City versus a smaller town in Alabama. Like what is an operator? What do I need to know? Like it's not the same play, right?
Yeah, obviously, your bigger cities, they're going to have more competition for ads, but also, a bigger pot of gold, a lot more people searching. It's not always, pricing is always going to vary. It's not always going to vary based on population or demographics. But chances are, more likely you're going to have less competition in your smaller markets, which is less bidding. Which comes to less cost per click, which gives you a lot more budget, be more aggressive with. So the traffic is there, even in what we call like a tier 2 city. There, you guys are all in, markets that can support, luxury transportation for whatever reason, whether it's a tourist town, a high business town, or just affluential area. But the traffic is there, there you can definitely be more aggressive, but it's not always, there's so many hundreds of thousands of ways people can search for your business, and it's not always the most expensive or the most common keyword that's getting the most traffic. A lot of times it could be longer tailed keywords, such as what is the best luxury transportation company for a law firm in New York City, as an example. Now, that may take more searches to get a conversion, but it's also going to have a much lower cost. So let's just say, as an example, something like limo service New York cost $1 per click. And, let's just say, as an example, it takes 50 clicks to get a customer. You spend $50. Well, what if something like, the best transportation company for a law firm in New York City costs 25 cents per click, as an example, and it may take 100 clicks to get a job, but you just spend a significant less amount on your cost per acquisition, and you got a intent-based search opposed to a broad-based search. I think a lot of people, when you're competing against people that are doing it on their own, they're looking at more of those broad terms, and that's where the heavy competition comes, which is not that those aren't valuable, but there's so many different searches. There's more ways that you can get a customer, because there's hundreds of thousands of different ways that people are searching for your business.
Yeah, so good. All right, well, lots of things to think about there. The reality is, right, bidding, these are auctions. Your auctions in Miami and New York are pretty heavy duty. It's maybe tier 2 market, maybe not as expensive to get some of the same things. So really just great context there, Brian. All right, well, let me kind of dig over here into retargeting. Let's start with what is it and why this is such a powerful piece of an ad strategy.
So retargeting, best way to explain it, you go to companies like Amazon, you look at a product, you don't buy it, and then later on you're at home, you're on social media or other websites, and you see that ad follow you around. So the retargeting, if you're not doing that and you're running ads, you're losing money because these are not costing pennies. They're costing dollars. They're costing pennies. They don't cost dollars like Google, but you already spent a buck or two to get them there the first time. So it's only logical to spend an additional 25, sometimes 50 cents in order to increase that conversion rate. Now, the what our data shows is the average time between click to payment is going to be 72 hours. Some people more, some people less. So if you're not following them around other places that they have their attention, if they do another search, they may or may not see your ad again, and they may or may not click on it again because they already clicked on it once. So retargeting lowers your cost of acquisition and also increases conversion. The short answer is the reason Amazon does it is because it just takes more touch points in a digital sales process. Especially when people are traveling, it's not uncommon to do multiple searches. So retargeting lowers your cost per lead and increases your conversion. And and so you want to follow them around because they may not see you again if they do a second search, when they do a second search.
Yeah, that's really good. I know, like our team, we do blends of all this stuff, right? And maybe, whoever you're using or working with, that's a question to ask is, you're doing it because again, the cost per impression, if you do this right, you can keep touching that high quality lead at a much lower price point than a direct intent based play. So good stuff there, Brian. So really interesting stuff, and now more than ever, this last piece is something that I talked about actually at the Limo Anywhere user conference last. I can't remember what it was at this point, but not too far in the past. But really, the reality is right now, no matter how good your ad campaigns are, like people are going to look at you in all kinds of places. Like they may, check you out. They may click through from your ad to your website, and they want to see your website, right? They want to see, may dig around in there a little bit, or they may go see your social media presence. So they may look at a review. So really, like, how are you, is your Google business profile up to date? Like, so, no matter how good your ad campaign is, there's things out there if you're not doing something in all these kind of ecosystem touch points that could have that lead fall out, right? So if you're investing in digital ads, which absolutely you should, there's so much competition, you need to, you want to make sure you're buttoning up some of the other digital footprint pieces you have because consumers will look in multiple places before they make a final decision. So this is actually something I got from the Orange Theory marketing team, just like how people look. They do the search and then they look at reviews and they may take a peek at your social media page. You have a picture of some of your fleet out there. And then of course they get to your webpage and they make final decisions. So ads is one piece to get that lead, but some of these other things influence it. And again, if you're going to be spending the money in digital, you want to try to button up all pieces of your digital ecosystem. Now more than important now than ever before, particularly with the world of AI. So Brian, we've talked a lot about some interesting things. We've gotten to some pretty technical things when it comes to digital ads. There's no doubt it is technical. Again, having a great partner to help you is important. So what would you do if somebody got on your link here and said, "Hey, Brian, I hear you guys talking about stuff. Some of it's a little over my head from a technical standpoint. How can you coach me in my business and how would you work through a program with me?"
Yeah, I mean, first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do research on your site, as well as your competition, the amount of searches being done. We want to give you realistic expectations based on the amount of traffic that's in your area and the type of searches that are being done. Look into the bones of the website and what could be held. We're going to use some third-party tools that we can really dissect what's going on as far as traffic, web performance, and things of that nature. And then we'll go through the program, and there's different platforms. You can definitely crawl before you walk and walk before you run, or go into a full out sprint. So there, the basic, right? That's a high performing website. It's got some AEO technical optimization. It's simply just built the way that the engines want them to be built. These days, the platform has so much to do with your optimization, the score, the quality score of your ads, and your AI results. Like I was talking about with intent versus when we were talking about intent over there, what we're doing is so much that has to do with the web platform. They're looking for highly structured, high performing websites when it comes to AEO, and that's where search is going. So the basic platform, which is also included in all the other platforms, definitely checks off those boxes, and also has things that are a bit more holistic, because AEO is more holistic than SEO, such as AI-driven social media posting. You may not like Facebook yourself, but AI loves it. It loves activity as well as reviews. Map optimization is huge. Reviews and consistent reviews are definitely help that. They help your quality score, and AEO absolutely loves them. If you went to ChatGPT and said who's got the best transportation software out there, we would definitely be on that list. And if you asked how they got that information, it'd be based off of reviews, as well as text and email campaigns to increase your conversions from lead capture. So that's a great program if you want to run your own ads, if you just want to do things in phases, or maybe you've been doing SEO and the SEO is not taken off the way that you thought it would. A lot of times that has to do with the performance of the website. When you think about it, a lot of us had different cell phones in our pockets 3 to 4 years ago, and eventually, it says your operating system's not supported when you download an app. It slows down. You have to get a new phone. Website technology is also changing, just like everything else, and needs to be updated. Rocket is for ads. Ads are a great way to cut the line at Google. Where SEO is typically the most cost effective and most profitable, just takes time. So Rocket is, if you're looking to do ads and want to cut the line at Google, that's the way to go. And we have different, like I said, we're tracking not just who looks at your site, but everything from click to payment, which gives us more data on audience targeting, as well as doing the lookalike audiences as we did before. We're pretty confident on results, so confident we'll give you a dashboard that shows you how much money you're making, not just your clicks and impressions. And then Booster takes the oxygen out of the market. It's everything from SEO, AEO, basically everything that we offer, review management, everything you'd see in a presentation. And we could also do packages that are just SEO and AEO, if that's the route you want to go. Ads is a great way to rent space on Google, where SEO, AEO, you're buying that real estate. Excuse me. We do, for the first 10 people that decide to sign up with us and see a presentation, we do have a promotion on that setup fee for the first 10 people that sign up. My meeting links in the chat right now. If that's something you're interested in, we can do an audit on your site, the amount of traffic going on, look at the backlinks, look at the pages that are being seen, and point out not calling your baby ugly. Just want to point out the holes in the ship and how we can fix them.
Brian, thanks for sharing that. I think a lot of us are thinking about, as we're coming into spring, a lot of markets that many of our operators are in, we're getting ready to be busy as we come into springtime here. So now's the right time to be thinking about these changes for this year and how they may impact you for the rest of the year and the revenue you produce this year. So Brian, as you said, your link is in this chat. So anybody that wants to go ahead and just jump in and get a quick conversation with Brian, I'm sure he's happy to help. And if not, that's great too. Just keep on the lookout. We'll keep doing some webinars here. Our objective here is to help you understand and navigate some of the changes happening in the world of digital marketing, and so you can be the best operator you can be for 2026. So thanks everybody for jumping in, and have a great rest of the day.